Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Western Shore, a map for Farm Sim 17 by BulletBill. I'm much appreciative of the opportunity to be able to bring these Let's Plays to you on my YouTube channel. I'm very, very thankful to the recent mention. By the way, I'm sitting here on my back patio here. I have my laptop, and I've been watching Silver News, and was very surprised to see a mention about this farming effort that we're doing down here in Cornwall. And I would direct your attention, if you want to watch that segment. It is from the January 4th Silver News edition, and it starts a couple of minutes into his almost 12-minute news program. So, I get my apologies. I guess I need to, because of the type of underwear that's hanging there on the outdoor drying rack. I suppose I need to factor in a wife into my storyline, because otherwise I would not want anyone to get the impression that I wear um, female underwear. So of course we are a rated G channel, and even though COPA rules are what they are, because it is the new year, um, I will always run my channel rated G. However, it is intended for individuals over the age of 13, obviously. Anyone else needs to have adult supervision. All right. Also, before we get into the action, I just want to bring up a few other sources of information again as I finish my coffee here on the back deck and look out over the water there. It looks like now we're in this game day right here. We are in a brand new game day from what we were in the previous two episodes, and so we're in game day number three of a nine game day season. It looks like tomorrow is going to be our peak day to potentially sell down some of our sheep, sell them down to a more manageable number. And if we kind of look at what we have here on Strumble Lane Farm, which is where we are, we have 111 sheep that we own. So would probably look at that may not be the very next episode, but it would be. And I believe this is episode number 5, if I'm not mistaken. So there for the accounting folks, I believe this is episode number 5. We did get a little bit of rain last night, and well, the wife will just have to allow the laundry to hang out here just a little bit longer. But man, oh man, isn't that just? Oops, I almost stumbled there. Isn't that just a beautiful view over there? All right, well, I'm just going to kind of like I'm young again, just kind of fly over the fly over the lane there, or the wall, I should say. We get our gate open, and life is good here in the morning. Life is good here on Strumble Lane Farm at all times, believe it or not. But yeah, it's nice and peaceful. The coffee is good. The coffee here in the real world is also good, as I almost pour it all over myself because I hit my steering wheel with my coffee mug. Um, Going back to the Silver News feature, for all who have come over to join the Grizzly Bear Sims YouTube channel because of that news feature, welcome. You are all very, very much welcome to the Grizzly Bear Sims YouTube channel. Um, the Silver News news anchor, his name slips to the top of my head right now. He mentioned that I was a new channel. Of course, those of you who have been around for a while certainly know that I'm not a new channel. Uh, I've been I've been doing YouTube videos for I guess about five years or so now, 5 or 6 years or so now. I'd have to look at the stats to determine exactly what that actual statistic is. But I think it. I start. Joe is the Silver News anchor. So anyway, without further ado, we need to do some things today. We need to do some things today, and so we're gonna start seeding. We've got one field that is that's good to go. Okay, we're going to get this tractor fired up. We've got one field that is pretty much good to go. And I think what we want to do first is we'll go. Actually, let's just bring up our HUD here, and we'll take a look at and make sure that um, 82. Okay, 82 has been fertilized one time, so we want we won't fertilize that again before we seed it. We'll squeeze out here and head down here. I started my YouTube channel up late in FarmSim 15's life. When I say that, what I mean by that is it was on my first Let's Play series was on a map by Stevie. I can't think of it. Paradise Hills, I think, or something like that. Paradise Valley. There's a map by Stevie, which I have said before that Stevie is one of my top map developers, map modders, and it's a map by him. And I had kicked around the idea of starting a YouTube channel. Well, the channel I had for a long time. I thought about doing Let's Play videos several times, and started one on Sosnovka, the map that came out with the Farming Simulator 15 Platinum or Gold Edition, whatever they called it. And what I did was I started recording Let's Plays, and I got about, I don't know, about 6, maybe 8, maybe 10 in the can, so to speak. So in other words, without actually publishing them. I had edited them, rendered them, uploaded them, but just marked them as private. And I chewed on it for a while and realized that, well, this wasn't the best. Listen, I don't proclaim to be the best YouTuber, so I'm not saying that I learned anything from that endeavor. But needless to say, we'll go ahead and shut this off, park this right here for now. We're going to jump out. We got to go down and get the Merlot and load some seeds in there. We'll go ahead and get this gate open because we can. And yeah, let's go ahead and pop back in here and open this guy up, and then we'll jump out. So kicked around the idea of getting this YouTube channel started, and really didn't like those first videos of Sosnovka, and so I didn't release them. By the way, we bought some seeds and fertilizer and stuff yesterday, so I parked those in this shed. So this will kind of be, this shed we'll use to obviously do our maintenance, and then we'll probably store wool in here, and also keep our seed and stuff like that for now, anyways. So anyway, I decided this wasn't my best work, and I decided that I could do better, and so therefore I would start over. I don't know. Just let me update you all on this situation. I don't know if I'm going to move. I don't know if I'm going to change the map. BulletBill made some changes to the map, but he had recommended earlier on in my conversation with him on Discord, he had recommended the possibility of a new game save. And I would like to try to avoid that if at all possible, just because I think I've got things going kind of how I want them right now. And so let's see. Let's go ahead and drive the Merlot up here, and then I'll drop these bell forks. I'll drop these bell forks right here. And then because we bought something new yesterday. We bought it out of our bank account, so I didn't cheat the money or anything like that. But we bought these really cool bag handling. This bag handling mod. And what it is, it fits right onto a telehandler, so any version of the telehandler will work. And used to do this with pallet forks, but of course on a pallet fork it could fall off. And also pallet fork is kind of this contraption upside down. So if you have a shorter, shorter telehandler like this, you've got to obviously lift it higher and everything. So we're going to just we just need one bag. I think I don't think we're going to need both of those bags. Um, I'm sort of thinking, and I could be wrong because again, you know, I'm kind of thinking that we can get all of our seeding done with those two bags, but we'll see. 500 liters. You know, I'm sort of used to doing bigger scale farming. I will admit that probably the last time that I did small scale farming in Farming Simulator was probably back in Farm Sim 17. Let's see if I can get this thing close enough without bending. So we'll fill this guy up. It looks like he's going to take. Looks like he may take all of that bag and only get up to 60%. So I may be wrong. I may be wrong. I have been wrong before. I admit when I have been wrong. I can admit when I have been right, and I've told you that I was right, and people said, "No, Jerry, you're wrong." No, I'm right. Of course, that's a conversation that is generally held with my wife, and of course, you all might feel the same way. I tell you what, let's go ahead and put this other bag in there because, well, why not? We're not going to get it all in there, obviously, but you know, that way we'll have it. Because that way, if I'm mistaken, if I'm not going to get all of my fields, my 3 fields planted with 1,000 liters of seeds, then certainly don't want to get out here and essentially realize that, well, I needed 550 liters of seed to do this one field. And there we go, right there. We'll hop out. But yeah, it's been a while since I've played Farm Sim 17. So we'll do this. Grab a screenshot. Well, let's get rid of the HUD. I was trying to do that quickly, and we will do this. We'll grab another screenshot. As you know me, if I don't get these screenshots early, sometimes they don't happen. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to pull this guy out of the way, and then we're going to get going. I need to give you an update on our hiring situation here. Get back into the role play. Sometimes I will admit that I get off chewing on something, whether it be something with my world or whatever, and I forget about the fact that I'm supposed to be role playing. I will also just say for a moment that kudos to BulletBill in the Frontier modding team for making these big bags so much better than the other version that was available for Farm Sim 17 a while back, because you might remember on my Colborough Park Farm video, if you can remember that far back, when you lifted these big bags up, it had this white column that, you know, kind of just detracted from the realism of everything, and well, it just kind of made everything look a bit fake. All right, so we've got our sulky tramline seeder hooked up, firing up our Deutz-Fahr tractor. Love this tractor. Love this tractor in Farm Sim 15. I can remember playing Westbridge Hills for hours and hours and hours with this tractor, because of course I didn't know about mods and I didn't know necessarily that much. Oh look, when we open the lid, the step unfolds. That is incredible. I tell you, our modding community is just incredible. Now I hope this thing will fit in between these fence posts. You know, I never, just barely. Okay, we're gonna have to be mindful of that. I never even thought that this thing might not fit in our field. Boy, that would have been a near disaster, right? All right. So let's go down and start on this end of the field, because, well, we can. and we'll get this thing going, and I'll get into storyline here in just a moment. So if you're just joining and you haven't watched the other videos, well, I've got 4. This is episode number 5, I do believe. Then definitely go back and watch those videos, because you're gonna want to. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. This is still episode number 5, I believe, and I had to do. I was struggling to figure out what was going wrong, and what was happening was when this seeder being pulled behind the Deutz-Fahr tractor was basically leaving gaps. Oops, wrong key. Was basically leaving gaps where it wasn't planting, where it wasn't seeding. And let me just raise this up. And as you can kind of see here, we'll just jump out. And I didn't know if it was something to do with some of the better response mods, ground response mods, things of that nature. So I turned some of that stuff off just to look and see. And it really wasn't making a difference. So I just quickly, off camera, I just quickly went and purchased a different seeder, very similar to the Amazon seeder, just like this one, and it was doing the same thing. And so I thought, okay, well, let me swap out the tractors. And so I swapped out the tractors, and it got a little bit better. Now this thing tends to run away with me as far as speed goes. I had even adjusted the speed because I'm thinking, okay, well, the possible problem is that I'm just, I'm going too fast. I had my cruise control set at about 6 or 9, something like that, and I thought, okay, well, that's just too fast, and that's what's causing the problem. It's behaving a little more natural. If you were to pull a seeder across a bumpy field doing 60 miles an hour, of course you're going to get spots where the seeder isn't touching the ground. That would be natural, right? But this wasn't the case. I had adjusted my cruise control down to say like 3 miles an hour, 2 miles an hour, even 1 mile an hour, and it was still doing the exact same thing. So some of you folks know my feelings on some of these mods that I wonder. I'm always curious as to whether or not these mods are truly modifying the game or limiting other aspects of the game to try to trick you into thinking that from a ground response perspective or something like that something is different. And so I went ahead and put those mods back in, or re-enabled those mods, and then swapped out the tractor. And when I swapped out the tractor, everything is functioning the way that I expect it to. So I'm wondering if it has something to do, the SOB weight. I think I pointed out in episode number 4 how the SOB weight on the front of the Deutz-Fahr wasn't connected to the lower control arms. And I wonder if for whatever reason, if there's something that is the way that tractor, I wouldn't think that tractor is too small for this type of a seeder. I mean, this seeder has I believe a requirement of around 100 horsepower, and I believe that Deutz-Fahr was setting at about 120 or 130 horsepower, if memory serves me correctly. Don't quote me or anything on that, but I think that might be around where that tractor is. So I don't know. I may do an equipment substitution for that Deutz-Fahr, and just see if because I need 2 tractors on this map. I need 2 tractors to be able to do the type of storylines and role play and all that kind of stuff that I typically do, because we are going to have a hired worker here eventually, and it could be even as I need to bump my time up here. It could be as early as this afternoon. We may actually have Jim, who is the brother of Tom, come by from the lighthouse to help us out just a little bit. So if that can happen, what I plan to do with Jim is just kind of giving a little bit of the rundown on how the plow works, and probably put him over in this field that's adjacent to this one, and have him go ahead and plow that field, and see if he can get that done. Obviously, he'll need to use this tractor because this is our beefier and heavier tractor. But if someone knows if I was doing something wrong, certainly, I'm not against criticism as long as it's constructive. I kind of go in and out of doing things ultra realistic and stuff like that. From what I can tell, and this is just my way of figuring some of this stuff out, is that if this seeder and the Amazon that I also tried works with this tractor the way that I want it to work, then it's got to be something to do with that Deutz Fahr. It's got to be either it's too small of a tractor, but I can't imagine that that's going to be the case, or there's just something, because it's a mod, there could be something wrong with that particular tractor. So most likely there will be a substitution coming, and I will get that sorted out before the next video. So I'm thinking this video is going to pick up, part 2 is going to pick up sort of after we loaded this seeder with seeds and kind of got started, and I'll just do a break in the action. But my apologies for that, because it kind of got me all agitated and everything, because it wasn't working right. So I'm like, okay, well, what is the problem? Is the problem with because the seeder is a mod, the Deutz Fahr is a mod? Is there some conflict in either of those two pieces of equipment, or is it another mod that is in my mod folder? Some of that not crop destruction, but better ground handling and all that stuff. So I think I've got it sorted out. I think it's going to end up being that it's just that Deutz Fahr tractor, and we're gonna be fine and be in business here with getting our wheat in the ground. So I'm thinking that we were about 15 minutes or so in before I experienced the problem. So we've been running about 7.5 minutes here. So I'll do a couple of more rows of wheat, and then probably cut this video off, stop this video in this episode, and then come back with episode number 6, and we'll be doing something different. I'll finish the rest of this field up, I think, off camera. That is, unless Jim shows up early or something, and then we'll just see how it goes. But I'm gonna also try to do these videos at least on this series at faster pace, faster clock speed, if you will, just so that we kind of get through this stuff. I sometimes run in a faster speed on Lone Oak Farm on my FS19 series, and then sometimes I slow things down a little bit just because I'm interested in showing telling a story a little bit. Even though I don't always role play on that series, I have something I want to be able to demonstrate or show or whatever. But I'm going to try to, because we've got 3 fields at the present time, three fields for crops, and so even if we have an interruption where we've got rain or something like that, I think we'll have plenty of time to get everything done that we need to get done, and not have to worry about losing crops and such. But it is what it is. It kind of that is sort of the nature of farming, and it's no different here on the Western Shore. All right, so this episode has been a little bit of a hodgepodge of the different kind of discussions and stuff like that. I will just close and say that I'm very much appreciative to any and all of you who may have come over from the mention on Silver News. video. I'm very much appreciative to that, and I hope that my videos from this point forward is entertaining to you. Understand that there's a couple of things that's kind of working against me here. The first being that it's been well over a year since I played Farm Sim 17. Most of you should know or should admit that there are some differences. There are some differences in controls and the way things work. Not a whole lot, but there is some. So some of the mods function a little different in 17 versus 19. So it's kind of a bit of a learning curve. Bring my knowledge back up, because hey, let's face it, when you kind of stop doing something, when you stop using something, you can forget. You can just kind of misplace that information in your brain, and and kind of forget how it's used, or especially in the case of changes and revisions to something, like for example the simple way that seasons is different. That is one thing I like about Farm Sim 19, is sort of the way that seasons has been changed to function with that particular version of the game. I like the HUD and everything on that version a little better than I do on this version. But anyway, bear with me. We'll get things sorted out. We'll make things fun, and as entertaining as I possibly can make things for you. And again, welcome to everyone who came to my channel from that video, and or just anybody who has come just from the simple fact that maybe they have been looking for something different to watch, and maybe you don't have Farm Sim 19 and you're looking at something that's different. You play Farm Sim 17 and you're looking for something different to watch for entertainment. Obviously this map is private, most likely will never be released to the public, but you can still watch me fumble through it, and hopefully in some way, shape, form, or fashion you'll find that to be somewhat entertaining. All right, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, because I do have a tendency to just blab on here, I'm going to say thank you again for watching. I do appreciate it. And I hope that you will return for another episode here on the Western Shore or over on Roanoke Farm, and I will see you at that particular point in time. Take good care of yourself and also of each other. God bless you all. Bye-bye for now.